12-year Navy vet with years on a submarine in the reserves. Ask me anything.
Before we start, be sure to like and subscribe to be the first to know about new videos. Comment your answer below.
Are there any long-term heat effect from being on a submarine for extended periods of time? Thank you for your service. Your knees go after a while. Walking on steel all the time. Guy on my boat, attack submarine, was on his last sea tour minus 16 years in and was having a really hard time getting around. Personally, my hearing was affected, lost 30 to 40% in one ear. It probably affects everyone differently. I have about the same issues. Knees are shot, hearing is screwed a bit, chronic back issues. Doesn't help I played hockey and was in a few bands before the military. I can't blame all of that on the boat, but I'm sure it didn't help. Interesting, does the lack of sunlight have any noticeable effects on the mental psyche? Also, do they make you take vitamin D pills? Not trying to hijack Op's thread, but no, they didn't make you take anything. You could have on your own, I suppose. Op mentioned sleep being something that everyone needed. Your mental psyche was probably more affected by exhaustion. I remember times we'd be at sea and I'd only sleep for 4, maybe 5 hours every other day for a couple months at a time. What movies did you guys watch during downtime? How else did you entertain yourselves? In my day, we were sent movies on what looked like a mini VHS tape. I'm told they get them digitally now. We were lucky enough to get movies about a week before they hit theaters on a pretty regular basis. At any given moment, there were about 200 movies on board. We watched a lot of Van Wilder, it was still somewhat new, and Ice Princess for some damn reason. A few nukes played a lot of cribbage too. I never got into it until later in life. The occasional person would read a book or two. Beyond that, you're either working on quals or in the rack. What's with Ice Princess? I remember watching that movie way too many times. I'm blaming Michelle Trachtenberg. We watched a lot of Eurotrip too. I'm sure there's a "this isn't where I parked my car" reference somewhere. Dude. Sweet. You mean dude, where's my car? Lol. How accurate is the Simpsons episode where Homer joins the Navy? Ha 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 ha. Pretty accurate, but less threat from penguins. Much like Down Periscope. Much like Down Periscope. Now that was a good movie. Not a question, but I'm a fellow submariner, M. 6-year contract on a Los Angeles class out of Groton. I'm just here to say hi and read the questions you get. Actually, question, boat and home port? I was on Chicago when it was in Pearl Harbor the first time. I hear it's back in Pearl after about a decade of home porting in Guam now. Glad you didn't get stuck in Guam. Went there twice. That was enough for me. What's so bad about Guam? Guam is really fun. For about 12 hours then you've seen everything there is to see. Nudie bars get boring after a while on an island. And I have no business scuba diving. Guam does have some of the best diving locations in the world. Beyond that, it's the armpit of the universe. How many times you seen someone go insane inside a submarine? What would happen if someone gets sick in the submarine? Would you have to go back to shore or stay until the mission is over? Depends on the situation. Doc takes care of everybody. And there is only one Doc. If we're on mission, that dude better start praying for either good drugs or quick death. Otherwise, we'd probably pull into port and drop him off. Not Op, but just recently left the Navy as a submariner. Most people tend to cope by growing thick skin and growing sadistic senses of humor, much like how the rest of the military does. Most people are depressed but handle it in different ways and often discuss it through humor. Army officer here. How strict are the rules on fraternization between ranks? I've only been able to work with a few sailors, but it always seemed like there is this very strict divide between enlisted and officers. In the Army, and especially the reserves, it's a bit less formal. Second question, did you have to shower with seawater? Not Op, fraternization isn't really punished. Most of the tactical enlisted rates, MOS, that operate the submarine know more about sonar/navigation/tracking submarines than the officers, and are unofficially required to mentor their junior watch section members. Some of the best relationships I had as a junior sailor was with the Joes that I trained. I think it was pretty standard to try and humble the officers we trained. I even had one of them sleeping on my couch last month while he was a Geo bachelor. We would often get drinks with the Joes in our watch section and operated on a first-name basis outside of work. Edit. We have reverse osmosis units that desalinate water. But it does come from the sea. I'd also like to state, the surface fleet is known for having large divides between enlisted and officer. Submarines operate with a unique level of trust between the crew and its wardroom. Thanks for the reply. I can imagine the level of trust that comes with being in such close quarters for so long, and so far away from everything. I'd be interested in serving a tour on a ship, or maybe even a submarine one day. I'll probably never get the chance, but you never know. Hey there. Thanks for the AMA. I'm working on a game revolving around submarines entirely. What are some slang terms for things that only submarine crew members would know of? There are a shitload that are sub-specific, some are just Navy terms. I'll let you Google away on these: G-dunk, scuttlebutt, nub, nuke, toner, a gang, cobweb, snapping, head, valve, mid-rat, snap, roll. Good luck. Yeah, but nobody actually ever says G-dunk or scuttlebutt unless they're being ironic. That's scuttlebutt. Lol. Chiefs and the occasional digit would do it. Are there any movies that accurately portray life on a sub? Also, what movie does every submariner love? I.e. Hunt for Red October, Crimson Tide, etc. Down Periscope. I literally pick apart every sub movie I've ever seen. They are all bullshit at some point. How realistic was the movie Hunt for Red October? Completely full of shit. But still a good movie. Do you ever splice the Mainbrace while at sea? Hell. I wish. We drank like fish in port, but never on the boat. The US Navy is, as far as I recall, completely dry while at sea. The last Western Navy in the world to abolish the daily rum ration was the New Zealand Navy in 1991. That rum was rocket fuel. I did get to splice the Mainbrace on a number of occasions. Most memorably 3 times in one day. The US Navy is, as far as I recall, completely dry while at sea. Does Beer Day not count? Apparently Beer Day is not normally observed on a submarine, but it has happened at least once in recent years. Thank you for your service. I realize you may have hit the rack, so no rush. I am wondering if there was security on your fast attack boat, and submarines in general? If so, was it provided by the Navy, possibly Marines back in the days when they still did that? No rush on the answer. I'm just an insomniac and found your 2 AMAs fascinating. Thank you for doing them. Yes, there is. It's provided by the crew. Thank you for the reply. One more thing, if you are into the bass still, highly recommend Geddy Lee's book. The photos alone are worth it, but also Geddy's knowledge of the instruments within is, well, you would know better than most. This is coming from a drummer. Thanks again. Have a great one. Geddy Lee is amazing. Also a huge Victor Wooten fan. Thanks for the recommendation. I looked at a few of Victor's videos and I could not agree with you more. He's got it for sure. And like Geddy, he's a knowledgeable, thoughtful, appreciative speaker as well. Nice. I'll check him out further. Thank you for your service, but what would you consider your most terrifying occurrence while serving? Unfortunately, not something I can talk about.
You have been visited by Sad Cat. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to make Sad Cat happy again.